Scientific practices don't always align with scientific values. Scientists earn their financial and reputational rewards through publishing, and some kinds of findings are more likely to get published than others. That means in the present culture, the incentive is to get it published rather than ensuring that it is accurate. The Center for Open Science aims to nudge the incentives so that scientific practices align with scientific values. In particular, the center is working to increase the openness, integrity, and reproducibility of scientific research. The Center for Open Science has three primary activities to meet its mission. First and foremost, we're a nonprofit technology startup. We build free software infrastructure that supports scientists' documentation, archiving, and management of their research materials and data. That software, called the Open Science Framework, then makes it very easy to make those materials available publicly to increase openness and reproducibility. Also, the center works on community building among the stakeholders in science to promote open research practices and standards for good practice. Finally, we support meta-science, research on the scientific process itself, to improve and accelerate knowledge accumulation. The Center for Open Science has no competitors. All of our services are given away for free, and we aim to collaborate with any organization that is supporting the scientific workflow. With the Open Science Framework, we're working to connect services together. If someone else has created tools that are open and work well, we'll connect to their resources rather than trying to reinvent them. Our mission is based on inclusivity. Science and technology aren't just for academics at elite institutions, just for men, or just for the Western world. Inclusivity means that everyone should have access to the tools, the process, and the knowledge that results from science. We sit at the interface of science and technology with an open collaboration model. All of our software development is open source to encourage an inclusive model for development that welcomes all contributors. It's the same with our meta-science projects. They're operated through a network called the Open Science Collaboration. Projects are structured so that anyone can contribute based on the skills, energy, and interests they bring. Open science is inclusive science. Finally, as scientists ourselves, we have an inside track on getting the scientific community engaged and involved in increasing open research practices. We track the user community developing around the Open Science Framework and how much research material and data is made available publicly. We also track adoption of initiatives to improve open research practices, such as our badges for open data, open materials, and pre-registration of research designs. Badges give journals a way to give incentive to scientists to make their research open. Finally, we track community involvement in each of our initiatives as an indicator of community building and inclusivity. We have no competitors, and we are developing no intellectual property. This is important. We let experts be experts. The center does not need to own or dominate any part of the research lifecycle. We aim to connect, use, and support the best available open technologies and practices regardless of their source. The center does not need credit or branding. Success is in the end result. If we develop a technology, we give it away as open source so that others might improve and extend it. This model is rooted in a core value of the center, inclusivity. We operate openly as a community, building shared tools so that everyone can benefit. We've established a user community of more than 1,500 researchers around the Open Science Framework. We have an active developer team, both on staff and in the open source community, helping to build tools to support scientific research. And we have multiple projects that are making substantial progress with large, coordinated teams. For example, our reproducibility project is an attempt to replicate dozens of studies from a sample of publications in psychological science. This project has more than 175 contributors from more than 50 institutions around the world, plus citizen scientists. We're not the first ones to recognize the problematic practices in science. Since the 1950s, methodologists have been articulating the lack of transparency and reproducibility in scientific research. So if we've understood the problems in scientific communication for 60 years, why aren't they solved? There are multiple reasons, but the main barrier has been implementation. Many good solutions have died because the implementations did not take stock of human motivation and behavior. Our approach attends directly to the incentives and challenges that scientists face every day and works with them rather than fighting them. Additional resources would help us expand the scope, speed, and impact of our initiatives. We continue to recruit support to develop our signature infrastructure, the Open Science Framework, to connect the framework to other services, and to support incubator projects for new services or add-ons. With additional resources, we could expand our community building efforts, especially to connect across disciplines in science and medicine, and push good practices more broadly and more quickly. Finally, we could accelerate our meta-science research to identify the challenges in scientific practices and develop interventions to address them. With our present staff size, we're constrained in our ability to engage all of the scientific disciplines and adapt services to meet their needs. As a consequence, our early focus is on the low-hanging fruit, working immediately with organizations and disciplines that are prepared to make rapid progress. With additional staff and resources, our coverage and expansion potential would increase rapidly. And because we develop tools that are reusable and extensible across many applications, this would have a big impact.